Hey, what's going on, Off199th fans? It's your boy Music Nerd, and this is a mini podcast with your boy Music Nerd. Let's get to it. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Off199th fans. It's your favorite music nerd, Philip Jackson, and I have the pleasure today to be interviewing Mr. Cam Underwood, the editor of State of the U Blogsphere, one of the substations of SB Nation, and a frequent contributor to Voice of College Football in Miami. Mr. Underwood, thank you so much for joining us today.
And thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to talking about our beloved Hurricanes.
All right. Yes, indeed. And so, yes, we're going to start talking about the Hurricanes. And of course, the first thing we're going to start talking about is the state of the football program. So, but also, too, want to get just a background question on you. I know that reading into you, you're from Detroit. So, can you share with us what actually drove you to come to the University of Miami?
But long story short, private school kid my entire life. I went to Cranbrook. Yes, it's a private school, like literally, and I have my choir award from Cranbrook right here. That's my school. But I wanted to go to private school for college. It just kind of fit for me. And I was looking at a bunch of different schools like Vanderbilt, and I found out Miami was a private school, and it just kind of had the ethos and construction that really spoke to me. My mother had actually moved down to Fort Lauderdale my senior year of high school, so it was kind of a home away from home, but then also still home. And it just felt right when I visited. And there was a great education program and a great music program, and it was just a place for me. So yeah, I made my way downtown, walking fast.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great 4 years there in Miami, and yeah, went to all the home games. Went to just so many just great life experiences there. So yeah, it was the place for me. It was the perfect time for me. And yeah, ever since the day after my 19th birthday in 2000, I've been a Miami Hurricane ever since.
Right. So yeah, so basically you went down to it during the golden age there for us.
Yep.
So 2000, 2002. That's when my younger brothers became fans. Me, I became a
Okay.
fan in '98 when I watched Edgerrin James run all over UCLA. So that was for me.
Mm.
So speaking of great golden eras here, let's start off about the way the program has kind of improved here. So the
Okay.
first thing I want to ask is, what has been Mario Cristobal's effect on the program since he's been hired in 2021?
I mean, it's just been a wholesale remodeling. It's just been a complete change in organizational outlook, structure from top to bottom, and it was necessary. I know that people were looking at the Manny Diaz era and saying, okay, we can win eight-ish games, we can be competitive. Like, this isn't far away from where we want it to be. But, Mario being a championship player here at Miami and just having a different viewpoint, he said, I know that there's a measure of success now, but what we need to do is not, your topical home renovation. We're not changing light bulbs or, light fixtures um and maybe a paint, in
Mm-hmm.
one room or another, not a feature wall. This is a tear down, not even to the studs, to the foundation, and then we build it back up. But when we're going to build it back up, it's going to be in the image of a current championship program. And you can see that from the off field support staff, whether that's nutrition, academic support, recruiting, just overall infrastructure. You see, Miami is losing or having people from the auxiliary, well, actually, from every department in this program hired away elsewhere. Right. And so that's a testament to what he's built. So yeah, it's getting back to the foundations of Miami as a championship program, not making Miami back, but relevant and present for this new era of football. So yeah, just that with alignment with the new AD, Dan Radakovich, who's a Miami alum, and then Joe Echevarria, the university president, and some of the major donors. It's just a different, coherent viewpoint with vertical alignment and insane focus on excellence. And we suffered through some losing seasons to get there. But when you have the goal in mind, you can get there appropriately. And that's what we're seeing from Mario.
Yeah. And so you talk about having the goal in mind. So how's important to have someone like Cristobal be here, especially in a talent-rich area like the South Florida, like keeping talent home, like he's been able to do with Malachi Tony, Mark Fletcher, Ruben Bain, who could be a top 10 pick potentially. How's important to have him here?
It's super important because he is the living, breathing proof of concept. Like, he went to Columbus. He
Mm-hmm.
played at Miami on two championship teams. So he's not like me coming down from Detroit, like where I had to kind of integrate myself later on. He's from the dirt here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's woven into the fabric of this program. And he's always been one of the best recruiters in America. So you have him as the tip of the spear, and then you know if you're going to work for Mario, you're going to go recruit. You're going to be in these streets. You're going to be at these camps. You're going to be at these high schools. And he talked about it even when he worked at Alabama. Nick Saban would come down, and he would be kind of okay, da da da. And Mario's over there, speaking that Spanish down there, down at all these schools, to these, to the people who speak that, and they're like, "Whoa, what do you do?" It's like, "Yeah, no, tú no sabes." Like you wouldn't understand, but like,
exactly.
And look, it's even to the era where I'll say that, and he's brought it up, and it's true. Manny Diaz doesn't speak Spanish, so that's a difference right there for a Cuban American native, right? So it's just that, and just the enthusiasm and the tireless effort in recruiting. It just changes everything. And all of these players who have gone elsewhere for all of these years, the superstar names that including Jeremiah Smith, who's currently in college, all of these dudes have always said one thing: if Miami was winning when I was in high school, I wouldn't be going to Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Michigan, USC, wherever, right? And you're seeing that proof of concept. Hey, we had 10 wins last year. We got to the national championship game this past season. Now you see it. And we flipped some guys and kept a couple home every now and then. You flip a Mark Fletcher, you flip a Jordan Lyle, who are both committed to Ohio State. But with Mario, and these recruits be like, yo, I'm waking up at 5:30 because I got to catch my 6:15 bus to go to school. I wake up to a text message from coach because he doesn't sleep. It's a different energy, and it works.
Yeah, you talk about the different energy. And I think like Cam Ward actually talked about that when he was being recruited as well. Do you think like Cam Ward's success, do you think that's also been a blueprint for it? I mean, we talk about the NIL success, we talk about the quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Carson Beck, now Darian Mensah. You think that his success really set the blueprint for what happened this season and given us a special season?
Absolutely. Yeah, the infrastructure and just, I mean, again, the proof of concept with Cam Ward. If we would have had a living, breathing defense that wasn't ranked in the 100s in 2024, I think that we skate to a national championship. Because Cam Ward, the bomb squad, was the number one offense in America by far. Go back and look at those numbers, guys. It wasn't close. Right? I mean, what, a touchdown more a game than anybody else, 60, 70 more yards than anybody else. And like, we weren't even, like, we would still have drives where we went 3 and out, and we were still just light years. But seeing that and being basically 35 minutes from the playoffs or 38 minutes from the playoffs when we fumbled the bag at Syracuse, you say, okay, I see that I can go win there, right? And yeah, having the success with bringing in guys. And it's funny, on the Voice of College Football show I do on Wednesdays, somebody asked me about the transfers who have come here and been successful. It goes back further than that. It goes to De'Eric King. It goes to Jalen Phillips. He was a former number one overall recruit who was medically retired by the doctors at UCLA. He comes here, does that thing, and he goes in the top 15. You know what I mean? But when it's now not just one player with excellence, but now you're seeing the widespread team success as well as player excellence. Yeah, that really does blaze a path forward, and we're seeing that.
Yeah. So you talked about widespread success. We talked about having a 10-win season in 24, now a 13-win season in 4. What did it mean for Miami to make the playoffs?
And it was everything. It was, I mean, we were on the doorstep in 24, didn't really have a good win. And they used that against us to keep us out. And we were behind Alabama anyways, even without Clemson stealing a bid. So, yeah, close but no cigar, but like, okay, we need to take that next step. We need to get into the playoffs. And then, it's what everybody says. You got to be in it to win it. You got to have a chance. Just let me in, bro. And if we got to go on the road for a month into these hostile we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. Just let me in and then let us work. And now they're seeing, okay, well, everybody wants to talk about, okay, well, you had 4 interceptions against Louisville, Carson Beck. You lost a game at SMU that you probably shouldn't have. I mean, either of those you probably shouldn't have lost, and da-da-da-da-da. Now, we're going to hit boys in the face, punch them in the mouth, and they're like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And it just gave the program the pedestal, just the opportunity to show the excellence and stepping into that moment and being 41 yards away from a championship. Like it just gave the program widespread notoriety on a national stage, even, to win at the little, the Steve Spurrier Coach Awards or whatever,
Right.
Mario's joking with Kirby Smart. He's like, yeah, like I guess you have all this time to write these jokes because y'all were at home watching us play in the playoffs.
Exactly. And I love that. I absolutely love that too. So, it's
Yeah.
like, especially saying something like Kirby Smart, because Kirby Smart right now is considered the best in the game when it comes to it as well. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to have that back and forth, being able to have that notoriety is what we really want. And so then talk about the notoriety and talking about, what has happened with the football program. Do you think that the success that Mario Cristobal has been able to have, do you think that trickle down moved into how we hired Jai Lucas and then his historic start with UM on a basketball court right now?
I think that Dan Radakovich has a clear viewpoint of how he wants to run the athletic department wholesale. That's the athletic director, in case people didn't know. And, sometimes you need to go get a veteran guy who's done it and has the vision, like Mario for football, because that's what was required. But other times, you need to get that up and coming coach who can take you into a new era and blaze a path forward, which is what he did with Jay Lucas. And, Duke basketball has hired one assistant coach in the last 35 years who was not an alum and former player. That's Jay Lucas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the proof is in the pudding there. It's like if he broke into that fraternity, and I do not like them. I'm a Carolina fan. But basketball fan at least, but on the side of Miami. But I'm not going to sit here and try to deny their excellence. But when they see it and say, hey, no. I know that there's these alums. I know that these former players, we need to go get that guy. That tells and shows me something. And Jay Lucas already has the most wins in the first year for a Miami Hurricanes men's basketball coach. And yeah, so it's a clear viewpoint, knowing where you want to go, and then being a little bit flexible on the person who fills the role based on the needs of the program. So I think the foundational process to get to a Jay Lucas is the same, but it just with where the program was and is basketball, it found a different person. But I think the decision making process is in some ways similar.
Right. So, but basically being aligned and making sure we have that same thought process with every sport in it. That basically leads to someone like Jay Lucas. So we're talking about having that same thought process. And like right now, it looks like Miami will make the NCAA tournament, barring a huge collapse. So what would a big, let me say this, a deep NCAA tournament run look for the program, the basketball program?
A deep run would be to the second weekend. So getting into the Sweet 16. I mean, anything past that is gravy, I think. This is a good team. This is a talented team basketball-wise. Not the deepest, especially in the front court. So if the center, Ernest Uday or Malik Reneau, the star power forward, if one of them gets in foul trouble or like rolls an ankle and has to miss 8 or 10 minutes while they go to the locker room to get attended to or something, that could be a challenge. I think there could be matchup issues with certain teams depending on the seeding and how the bracket falls. But for me, with this team, if you're looking 3 regular season games left, already 22 wins. We're counting Boston College as a win. We need to at least split between SMU and Louisville. So you're looking at 24 regular season wins, win at least 1, if not 2 in the ACC tournament. If you get looking at a double bye into the quarterfinals, right? So 25, 26 wins going in. And then, from there, 2 wins to get you into the second weekend. I think that that's a deep run. Anything past that is gravy. I know that second round game, the round of 32, could be challenging depending on what the seeding is. If we're on the 8 line, then you're probably facing a number 1 seed there. Makes it challenging. But yeah, for me, getting to the tournament, targeting that second weekend, and going from there.
Good. Well, talking about different programs and being aligned, I see that the baseball program has now off to one of its best starts in a long time with being 10-0, going into a marquee series versus the Gators this weekend. What can we learn about them this weekend playing the Gators and playing a good team like that?
I mean, this is one of the top teams in the country. Miami, also one of the top teams in the country with Florida. The series is exactly tied. It's like 139, 135, 135, and then 1 tie because it got to be late on a getaway Sunday day. So they ended up tying a game recently. But yeah, it's been Florida has owned this series recently, over the past decade, 15 years. So it will really be interesting to see how the offense fares against good pitching. And even in games where we've won and come from behind this year, against top line, like either ones or two starters, been a little bit of a challenge. Like we had to put 7 on FAU this midweek in the ninth inning to come from behind and win.
Yeah.
We can do that, but the offense needs to be a little bit more consistent. It's super explosive. Like, if you hang a curveball or you miss a spot with a fastball, like it's a
gone.
meme that I found on Twitter years ago that I still tag a buddy of mine in. Miss spot, go boom. Because if you miss a spot with a fastball, you got Cuvée, you got Dovnik, you got Duvovic, Williams, Sosa. Like you got guys who are going to park it far, but it can be a little feast or famine, especially
Okay.
when facing quality pitching. And the other thing is the defense is not always consistent for Miami,
Right.
whether that's it's a lot more on the throws, specifically from the left side of the infield, shortstop and third base. That can get a little dicey sometimes. But yeah, you can really see, okay, how does this offense really fare against top talent, which is what we're going to have to go through when we get to the tournament. And can they be consistent enough on defense to not give teams extra outs? Because if you give a Florida extra outs at bat, you don't want to see that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So that being said, what do you think is the ceiling for this team?
Omaha. I mean, with baseball, and it's funny, I have a Miami Hurricanes baseball hat here. This is the first Miami Hurricanes team I ever fell in love with because my first love was baseball. So I would always see them in the College World Series. That is the foundation of this program. When Ron Frazier, the Wizard, was here, they would break every practice, whether it was fall ball or whenever, but they would break every huddle. 1, 2, 3, Omaha. That is the standard. And we have this kind of talent now on this team. It has to be Omaha. Like that is the ceiling. Now you want to get there and not go 0-2 in a barbecue, but I mean, yeah, this team needs to get to the College World Series. That's what Omaha means for those who don't really follow college baseball. But
Right.
I mean, yeah, the ceiling for this team is easily Omaha in a championship, but there needs to be consistent performance to get there. But the goal is always Omaha, and I'm never going to change on that. And this year's team, with the longest winning streak to start a season in the country, I think has the ability to get there if they play the way that their talent should allow them to.
That's it. So get to that, and now talking about the entire program as a whole, the entire sports program. What is the state of the U at large right now at this point?
I mean, Miami Hurricane Athletics is in a great spot. You have great funding, you have great alignment from top to bottom, whether it's, we've had multiple national champions from women's tennis. Men's tennis plays well. Women's soccer has gotten to the ACC tournament. Track and field has had record setters. I believe the mile relay, men's indoor, had a record this year. Swimming and diving has had records and champions and things like that. So whether you look at just the major sports like football, basketball, baseball, or you continue down and say, okay, well, let's look at the full breadth of all of the sports that are that we compete in. I think everybody is in a good spot. And again, it obviously football is the headliner, but it's not just football. I mean, women's basketball went to the Final Four. A couple of years ago, they're looking like they're going to make the tournament again. Well, they could make the tournament again. So yeah, I think that everyone is in a good spot. Everyone is not necessarily championship, caliber across the board, but you don't have, I don't think, a single program that is the redheaded stepchild. Just the, oh my God, what is going on? Like, we gotta, Lil Tink Tink over there. I'm not going to talk to you because I got to fix Lil Tink Tink. I don't think that we have one of those programs. So yeah, I really think that holistically things are in a good spot. I like what Dan Radakovich has done across the board, and I like the direction that we are headed. In all of the sports, and hopefully they're able to reach their ceilings. And of course, like I said, every program and sport has their own kind of viewpoint and goals and steps along their current process. But yeah, I don't think that there's any that are in a bad spot right now, and that's a credit to the overall leadership and administration.
Right. You talk about overall leadership. Big shout out to Dan Radkovich. I know I was super excited when he got hired, and I think the turnaround that he's had has just been epic. So, just one more question. It's a bonus
Yep.
question. I'm actually going to
Right.
be doing like a mini podcast for the channel. So, I wanted to ask. You actually said that you came to Miami during 2000. So, I got to ask this question's come up again. Who is the greatest college football team of all time, in your opinion?
There's one answer for this question, and I'm
Mhm.
only going to answer it because you're a fellow Hurricane, but I do not debate this anymore because it is settled science and done. The best college football team of all time are the 2001 Miami Hurricanes.
Thank
Period,
you.
point blank, .com, end of story. The
Mhm.
only one that has an argument for me is a team that didn't even win a championship, which is the 2000 Miami Hurricanes, who got screwed out of the national championship game in favor of a Florida State team that got shut out by Oklahoma. Now, I know people are going to say,
Right.
Cam, it was 13-2, and Oklahoma gave them a safety at the end. Mm-hmm. They got
Doesn't
shut out in
count.
the
They got
championship
shut
game. I
out
don't
in
want to hear
overtime.
that stuff,
Right.
right?
Absolutely
And
right.
all them boys on that team, I was a freshman in 2000. Like those were like DJ Williams was my freshman brother. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
he who played fullback in 2000 because we
I'm
had
saying.
starting linebackers who went to the league as the number one recruit in America, coming from Concord de La Salle in California. And we say, hey, look, you're going to play fullback, and then from there, we're putting you back at linebacker, and you will be a star for the next couple of years, and then be a first-round draft pick. If you're willing to take the crumbs of playing time at a position that you don't even want to play,
I don't
type
know.
stuff. Nah,
That
I'm
is what's
good.
crazy about it. I mean, that's what the argument always comes down to. People want to talk about dominance and this and that thing. Thing is, if you're a top five college football team of all time, dominance is always going to be a part of it. A lot of times you weren't going to be playing the second half. I know that's what people are saying about the 2013 Florida State team. But when it comes down to the depth, the talent, players like Sean Taylor, Vince Wilfork, Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, Kellen Winslow Jr., Ancho Rowe, all sitting bench on that team. I think it's just always going to be the prevailing factor for that. That's just always for me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But we want to give a big shout out to Cam Underwood. Once again, the editor stated to you for joining us. Thank you so much, sir. We really do appreciate it. So we will be also all new with a podcast next week, and Mr. Underwood will probably be showing up on Monday on our YouTube channels. Thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, man, I appreciate the invite. It's been a great conversation. Great to talk to you guys. Can't wait to see the final product. Y'all take care.
Thank you.